Thank you for the warm introduction. And thank you everyone for being here and spending this Saturday kind of gloomy afternoon with me. My name is Luke. I'll go through a little bit about my history a little bit later. But Singaporean, as you can tell from my accent. But I spent many of my years, about 16 years in Australia. And about 3 years ago, I moved back to Singapore. And this lifestyle has brought so much to me. Can all of you hear me at all? Because it's quite noisy here. Everybody can hear me here? Awesome, awesome. So, how many here wants to drop a bit of body fat? How many of you here wants to be healthy when you go to the doctor? Get your blood work done, cholesterol free. How many of you guys here want to age well? Me included. I've got a daughter and she's 15 months. 15? That's my wife Emily, by the way. She might come up and share a little bit later. But my goal right now is, it used to be biceps and chest, but now it's about living a long and healthy life and seeing my daughter grow up. Maybe be a granddad, maybe be a great granddad, who knows. So yeah, I think I want to be around long enough. So hence my opportunity to be here. I would like to thank Cheng, Kathy, Patricia for inviting me over. Cedele is a brand that I love. When I come back to Singapore, Cedele is always the first place Emily and I go to because it's got a salad that's actually a good size for me. Because I don't like salads that are just little. I like a substantial salad, and they're plant-based burgers as well. So when Cheng invited me to speak for Cedele, I was very honored and flattered as well. So yeah, so here we are right now. So in terms of my background, I've spent many years in the fitness industry, almost about 10 years, almost a decade in the fitness industry. And how many of you guys find it confusing for weight loss and health and everything out there? Anyone here? There's a lot of conflicting information, isn't it? And when I started in the fitness industry especially, there's a lot of conflicting information. Okay, should I go low carb? Should I go paleo? Should I go low fat? There's so many different labels out there. And if you look in the grocery store, there's all sorts of different labels. There's gluten-free, organic, natural, what else? Whole grain, low fat. Does anyone here find that confusing sometimes? It's like, where do I even start? What do I even do? So I think sometimes life in Singapore and life in general, I believe, can be quite complex because we live in quite a stressful environment. I lived in Australia where it's quite relaxed and quite laid back, like 5 p.m. works out, we're done. But down here, 10 p.m. I'm still getting WhatsApp messages. I'm being added to WhatsApp groups. How many here has like a ton of WhatsApp groups? All here, right? So it's a very, very stressful, and sometimes it's quite a complex world as well. And we don't need more complication in our life. We don't need a rocket ship manual. We don't need that in our lives to be healthy and fit, correct? So in my experience, I've interviewed a lot of people. I'll go into my background a little bit later. I recognize someone there. So these are, like, for me, I like to start with inspiration. I like to share with you some stories first. So these, if you go to forksilverknives.com, I've seen people drop body fat. I mean, we see a lot of weight loss, 12-week transformation, 6-week transformation. And I think for weight loss, we want to look at it long term. We don't want to see, because being an ex-bodybuilder and being in the fitness industry, I see a lot of people dropping body fat after 12 weeks. 1-2 years later, what happens? They go backtrack 10 steps and they're bigger than they were before. So I think for a lasting transformation, it needs to be long term. And these are some transformations that I've seen. And I know this guy, Josh Lejeune. He was about 400 pounds. He lost a whopping amount of body weight and now is an elite ultra runner. Very inspiring story. And on our forum, I've got a forum as well. I'll share with you what my forum on Facebook is. I've got Clarissa Pugh. She went plant-based for about 18 months. and she's dropped body fat, eating all the potatoes and carbs that she wants, and she's dropped body fat. And this guy, John Rodriguez, is a friend of mine online. I met through our online community. He's dropped, and he's now living whole food plant-based. So, I look around here, National Kidney Foundation. My mother's from NKF, and I walk in the NKF, they talk about sugar. And as we know in Singapore, diabetes is becoming quite common and prevalent, isn't it? So, in terms of diabetes and health, not just weight loss, but I've spoken to many people who have reversed themselves from chronic disease. We're talking cancer, heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune diseases as well. And improvement of skin as well, and that's one here. So anybody here wants to have better skin, younger, softer skin? A few, me included. So, and this is Janet and Alan, and I mentioned cancer earlier. So Janet is a friend of ours, one of our inspirations. Janet was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. Stage 3 breast cancer, and she was given 6 months to live. 6 months to live. And anybody that would get that news will be like, oh my goodness, I better pack all my things. I better settle my will and say my goodbyes. But Janet actually reversed the condition. She went raw vegan, raw plant-based. And I think I can't remember how many years on, at least 10 years cancer-free. She ran with her husband 366 marathons in 1 year. So she not only reversed cancer, but she did an amazing feat. And this is another person that I know, Jessica Morris-Bowen. She reversed breast cancer as well. And I hear stories like that, and I think that's what fuels and drives me to spread the message, because I think health is in our hands. It really is, and it's not rocket science. So moving to the more inspirational side of things, we've got athletes that are now moving towards a plant-based diet. I moved towards a plant-based diet for ethical reasons, and my wife for health reasons. As athletes, our performance, our recovery, we dropped body fat, everything improved significantly. So I mentioned a little bit about why I moved towards a plant-based diet. So initially, Emily had digestive issues, and she went to a plant-based diet, and almost in a few days, her digestive issues went away. And I was inspired by her journey, so I read up on it. But what really flipped was when I watched a documentary on animal cruelty. And after that documentary, I realized that a dog, a cat, a chicken, and a cow were all equal. It's just the way that we've been conditioned to think that some are food and some are pets. So that was my revelation, really. So in terms of my athletic career, I've competed as a natural bodybuilder. I've placed in competitions. I've competed as a CrossFitter in Australia and in the US as well. And Emily, as well, is going to be representing Australia in a month's time, 3 months' time, Australia, because she won the Australian Championship. She ran 100K a few weeks ago, won the championship, and now we're now traveling to Croatia to compete. So all the best, Emily. So good job. And I won't be competing. I'll be taking care of Sienna, my little girl. So I'm going to be like holding the rattle, bottle feeding, and doing whatever while she runs. So our transformation, that was 2011. I was high protein, low carb. That was us, highly inflamed. And that's us now. So that's our little girl, Sienna. I wanted to bring her today, but half the time I'll just be like, so no, that wasn't a good idea. So that was our transformation, and that's 7 years ago. So I'm not talking about a 6-week transformation. I'm talking about a lifetime. And here I am speaking to you today. So because of my own transformation, I felt compelled to share this message. I've researched on the topic. I've got a certificate in plant-based nutrition, and I'm also the co-host of the Plant Fit Summit. But our pride and joy, though, is being parents to our little girl, Sienna. And I think for us as parents, is to be able to inspire the next generation, because Sienna really is going to be the leader of the future. And we want to provide the most positive and enriching environment possible for her to grow up in. So I mentioned about cancer earlier. You know, we look at the statistics. I mean, Singapore wants to be number one at everything. But we don't want to be number one at these things, don't we? Do we agree? We don't be number one airport in the world, number one financial center, but not heart disease, diabetes, and we're slowly moving there. So what actually contributes to these conditions? Acidity, okay? When you actually have an acidic system, it's more prone to disease, chronic respiratory diseases, heart disease, cancer, diabetes as well. So what is acidic food? Animal proteins are extremely acidic, okay? So they actually contribute to chronic disease, ill health, weight gain. So why specifically is animal protein so detrimental for health? I mean, I used to, put it this way, I used to go to the chicken rice store and I used to go, "Uncle, I want $8 chicken breast, no rice." So when I first came back, I used to be in that kind of high protein mindset. I used to consume about 1 kilo of meat per day, and I flipped overnight, and now no meat at all. So why? And also fish as well. People think, all right, fish is healthy, but we're using the oceans as our rubbish dump. And also what actually happens is all the heavy metals are actually concentrated in the oceans, and especially farm fish. So when you consume a lot of these fish, it's high in heavy metals, PCBs, and a lot of environmental toxins. So heavy metals, lots of growth hormones as well. Antibiotics, about 60 to 80% of the world's antibiotics are fed to these animals, because what actually happens is the animals are fed a diet that's not necessarily part of their natural diet. And the reason is, when an animal is sold, the fatter and faster it grows, the more it sells. So it becomes a very profit-driven system. So because these animals are fed a diet that's not natural to them, they get fed antibiotics just to prevent them from getting sick. And not only that, bacteria, fecal matter, because you've probably seen pictures of slaughterhouses, and animals are slaughtered at such tremendous speeds, hundreds and hundreds of animals per hour. And as a result, there's a lot of cross-contamination. You remember bird flu, you remember mad cow disease, all of that kind of stuff. And heterocyclic amines, it's a cancer-causing substance. So when you actually sheet animal meats, fish included, it produces this thing called heterocyclic amines, which contributes to cancer. Plant proteins do not. Remember these? Anybody remember this? Back in the day? It's funny, isn't it? When we look back, it's like, how can that be? How can Surgeon General say, smoke and be healthy? So that is then. And I think as humans, we need to evolve. And I think one day, we might see changes in the way animal products are packaged. And personally, I hope so too. So couple of years ago, the World Health Organization classified processed meat as a group 1 carcinogen, meaning it's not just likely, it will contribute to cancer. 2A is red meat. So if it's a class 1 carcinogen, and so is cigarettes, isn't that kind of the same thing? So we're talking bakwa. My grandmother used to buy me bakwa. I love having slabs and slabs of it. But now, that's bakwa, ham, bacon, any sorts of processed meat is essentially like smoking a cigarette. So, that's the next thing. I'm just throwing some ideas and concepts to you. Some people say we are carnivores because of our canines. Can you feel your teeth to feel whether you've got any canines? According to the research that I've done and research that someone like Dr. Milton Mills has done, we are closer towards herbivores in terms of the way our digestive tracts are made, the digestive enzymes in our mouth, the way we chew. You know, a horse chews like that. Do we chew like that or do we chew like that? And do we have any nails to catch prey? No, we don't, right? So, if you want to look, there's a few presentations on this particular topic. There's a talk by Dr. Milton Mills, Are We Meant to Eat Meat? It's a really, really good talk, by the way. So, many people ask, where do you get your protein? When you look at the biggest and strongest animals on the planet, they're herbivores. They're not carnivores. So, the elephant, the rhinoceros, the gorilla, the chimpanzee, we're about 98% DNA similar to a chimpanzee. And a chimpanzee pretty much follows 95% plant-based diet. So, used to think like that. I used to think like that. Well, the animal gets protein from the grass, and then we get protein. But now, we need to change our mindset towards protein. We need to cut out the middleman and go straight to the source. When we look at plant proteins, it's a lot better for you. The reason why plant proteins are better for you is you get all the protein that you need, and we can, by the way, I can answer specific questions later. You get all the protein that you need. And plant proteins versus animal proteins have zero fiber. Plant proteins are rich in fiber. Plant proteins have antioxidants. Plant proteins have vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals as well. And there's also research now showing that animal protein contributes to accelerated aging. So if we want to age well and live a long and healthy life, we want to slow down the aging process, don't we? We don't want to take a taxi. We want to take the bus and maybe walk. Okay? So, in terms of aging, there's this thing called the blue zones. Blue zones are 5 or 6, I think, 5 or 6? 6, sorry. I always get this wrong. 6 populations around the world, pockets of people around the world who live beyond 100. And we're not talking living beyond 100 like that, but actually working and actually moving, doing social things. So I think it's about aging well, and I would love to live to 100, but still be able to do pull-ups, walk, play maybe mahjong. I mean, I haven't picked up mahjong yet, but maybe, who knows, a little bit later in my life. So I find it really, really funny when people say this, oh, you're only eating fruits and veggies. We've come full circle. I remember growing up as a kid, half an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Fruits and veggies. But suddenly when you decide to go plant-based, oh, is that healthy? Are you going to be surviving? So now moving on to the PlantFit Summit 2018. So I'm going to share with you some tips and some pointers that hopefully you can take away today. So I've interviewed a total of 80 plus experts around the world, and growing now. I traveled to the US because I wanted to learn from all these people. And it all comes down to the same thing. This image is care of 2009 Mr. Universe Billy Simmons. He's a good friend of mine, inspiration, vegan. Don't eat crap. Carbonated drinks, refined sugar, animal products, processed food. Eat real food. Fruits and vegetables, organic legumes and grains, omega-3 rich nuts and seeds, drink alkaline water. So, very, very big picture. So how do we eat real food? A whole food plant-based diet. A whole food plant-based diet, which is this pyramid over here. Nuts and seeds, whole grain, fruits and vegetables, and that's pretty much all you need. It cannot be simpler. It cannot be simpler. No counting your calories, no worrying about different vitamins and minerals. Once you follow a whole food plant-based diet, I mean, other than things like vitamin D and B12, you pretty much get all that you need. In Singapore, we live in an environment where, what's my return on investment? You know, you put your money in the bank account, or you buy some property in Bukit Timah, you want, what's my return on investment? Imagine that there was a bank that gives you 2,000 calories to spend each day. You want to spend on worthwhile investments that give you good interest on your returns, right? So, think of these calories as what's given to you, and you want to spend them wisely. Spend them very, very wisely, because I see many people that would spend thousands and thousands on a handbag, a car, a diamond ring, shoes, but they eat cheap food. Isn't it? Hawker center, $2 too expensive. It's too expensive. I can get this for $150. This is the most expensive car, house, item you have. This is what's going to take you through your later years in life. You don't want to wait till you're 70 or 80 and it's like, I wish I made different choices. Because those bags, those shoes, that car, the house will not matter at 70, 80, and 90. Correct? Correct, right? Sorry? Exactly, it'll be out of fashion. It'll be vintage. Yeah, new fashion. So, back to what I was saying. Plant-based. Very simple. That's plant-based. That's good old Chunky. I used to love Old Chunky. Y'all like Old Chunky as well? Plant-based versus plant-based. And by the way, Cheng, you might like this. This is from your Cedele website. So, once again, what's your return on investment? Return on investment is a very big concept. When you invest in each calorie, you want to know that it protects your health. It fights disease. It helps with your digestion. It helps you live a long and healthy life. And it has fiber. Animal proteins do not have fiber. Plant proteins have fiber. So this is a great comparison here. What's your return on investment? Beans versus beef. You get all the protein that you need plus more. Got a community group mostly based in the US, and I'm there trying to help these people because I want to see people live this way, and I hope in my lifetime I'll see a big shift because it's confusing, but at the same time it is very, very, very simple. When you actually make this switch, everything becomes so simple. And right now, I mean, we're raising our little girl, plant-based vegan, vegan. And it's not hard at all. It's not hard at all. And because this message is really, really close to my heart, I published a book here. I mean, guys can have a look at the book later. Some people do it for ethical reasons. Some people do it for environment. Some people do it for health. I think we can all be superheroes when we combine plant-based nutrition and active living. People ask me, why am I vegan? I say, well, why not? My health, my performance, my recovery has improved. On top of that, I'm not killing innocent animals. At the same time, I'm also contributing to a greener world. So it's quite a simple decision to make. Especially in the past 5 years, the plant-based movement is growing in leaps and bounds. So from the US, UK, I did a search on Google Trends. The word vegan has quintupled as a search term. So this is the future. It has to be. It has to be the future. In summary, think about your return on investment. Okay? Focus on whole plant-based foods. Come to places like Cedele to eat a whole plant-based meal. Go to Happy Cow, reach out to local groups, explore. People look at moving towards this lifestyle as, oh, I can't drink dairy, I can't eat meat, I can't do this. Look at it as an adventure. What can I eat? What else can I include? Maybe I'll try something different. Singapore has been voted second best vegan, vegetarian-friendly city in Asia. So there's no excuse whatsoever to say I can't find options. I mean, we went to Perlis in Selangor. My goodness, that was stressful because there was absolutely nothing there. Nothing there at all. It was just fried chicken. But we still managed to find something. But the thing is that it needs to come down to, it needs to be important to you. It's not just me telling you to go plant-based or vegan, but you wanting to make that connection to say, well, Luke shared something with me. It planted a seed in me. I'm going to try making some changes. Start with one meal. Start with one day. And this image, particularly, it's close to my heart because I watched my grandmother for her last few years suffer from Alzheimer's, diabetes, and I used to visit her at Khoo Teck Puat Hospital, and she was just lucid. At one point, she would just hold my hand, and the next time she didn't know who I was. And looking at that really broke my heart. And I think that we have a choice right now. Everyone here is probably in their later years, me included as well. We have that choice right now to rewrite our story and our future ahead. And it all comes down to eating whole plant-based foods. So the next one I'd like to share is just this little video here.
All right, thank you, Steve. Well, quality over quantity is 71-year-old Annette Larkin's motto. Well, listen to this here. The South Florida native says that a raw vegan diet is her key to a long and healthy life journey.
That's right. NBC6 reporter Erica Glover spoke with Larkins about her lifestyle and how she's now encouraging her husband to catch the vegan bug.
This is a royal table. These are zucchini chips.
If you're looking for the key to radiate youthfulness and physical vitality, look no further than Annette Larkin's kitchen table.
I don't consider it a secret. It is my lifestyle.
At 75 years young, there's no slowing her down.
You know, I get in like 18,000 steps a day.
Most everything she eats, including her cooking ingredients, are grown in her Miami-Dade backyard.
The green room, you're going to see buckwheat, lettuce, which is starting to grow.
She's been a vegetarian for 54 years. Over the last 30 years, she's perfected her raw vegan diet. Her plant-based menu does not include any animal products. Her food, unprocessed and uncooked.
If you eat something in its natural raw state as opposed to overprocessing it, cooking it, I think it stands to reason that you're going to get your more nutrients. Your enzymes are intact. And so that is why I eat the way that I do.
Now, growing season is from October to May. So during that time, you'll see this garden full of lettuce, tomatoes, and ginger. But it's not just about what Annette eats. It's also about what she squeezes. 84-year-old Amos Larkins is her husband. He takes medication for high blood pressure and diabetes. After 58 years of marriage, she only recently caught the vegan bug and wishes he started decades ago after truly noticing a difference.
Oh my God, everything is better.
Okay.
Annette says it's never too late to reap the benefits of a vegan lifestyle.
I know that I'm not going to live forever, but I'm forever trying to live well.
In Southwest Miami-Dade, Erica Glover, NBC6 News.
How cool is that? Eternal fountain of youth. It doesn't come in a pill. It comes in the ground up. Don't just add years to your life, add life to your years. Thank you very much.